Hey everyone, it's Talking Reds. It's a Wednesday, and you're used to seeing me on a Wednesday. You're probably not used to seeing this fella on a Wednesday. Where do you go on Wednesdays normally anyway?
Normally I'm taking my kids to school.
Okay.
So normally I'm taking my kids to school every Wednesday morning and picking them up, and so it was just sort of deemed easier if I worked from home on Wednesdays. But today I had a few things to sort out this morning, not least dropping a hire car off for a secret project we're working on. Can't tell you about that yet. But also as well, I needed to do a few things in town today. But I'm going to sound like a terrible dad now. It's the kids' sports day.
Today?
Yeah.
And you're here?
So Kelly's took the day off, which means she took them to school and is picking them up and getting the brownie points for the sports day. And I'm missing the whole thing. I'm going to have to get some sweets in on the way over.
You're going to have to do something, definitely. But we're lucky to have you here. I know that it might end up being the end of your family and your marriage, but we're happy to have you here.
Not married yet. Not married.
Not likely either. Okay, so we should probably move on to Liverpool now. We should start with some happy news, because obviously there's been lots of things that haven't been happy recently, so I always like to start with something good. I think it's happy news. We'll have to wait and see what everyone else thinks. But Liverpool have released a new away kit. And as you can tell by what I'm wearing, I kind of like it. Now, Gareth, I know that you're someone who likes to have strong opinions on things. What would your opinion be on this new Violet? What's the official name? Violet something? Violet Thunder? I don't know. Basically, the shirt is the same colour as this shirt.
Shite. It's not for me. It looks like a bin. It looks like it looks like the City of Liverpool's bins. We already have a football team in the city playing in purple, the Perps, City of Liverpool FC. And Liverpool have got plenty of traditional colours for me that they can lean on without having a purple kit. So look, it's not for me. I'm not that bothered anymore, I've got to be honest with you, Mo. We've had that many kits now and that many mad colours that it's not for me, is it? Let's be honest. I'm not buying kits. I'm not wearing kits. I'm 42 in a couple of weeks. You know, it's one of them. I've sort of gone past caring. But I've got to say, I was getting a bit of a soft spot for the orange one. I was starting to like it just because it was so mad and so bright. And I just kind of thought, and this is a real hot take for Talking Reds today, but I reckon the players could see each other in that orange kit. Do you know what I mean? But do you remember that awful one Manchester United had years ago when they played Southampton, the grey one, and Ferguson said they couldn't see each other and that's why they got battered at the Dell. I think the orange one was like the other way around in that, like, it's so bright that in your peripheral vision, if there's a fella there kicking around in orange, you can definitely see him.
It makes an impact. I mean, I agree with you that I really did like the orange, and given any option, even over this one, I would probably just say keep with that one. I know that it seems to be the fact that new kits have to come out every year, no kit lasts longer than a year, and we just accept that now. I don't like that either. But you're right, it really did. It was a presence on the pitch, and I think there was a game where we played away in Porto, I remember, and we're just lining up in the tunnel, just kind of like that long beacon of orange shining out. It looked really powerful, and I think sometimes we get caught up in the fashion side of kits and stuff like that, but essentially, it doesn't really matter. We're still going to support the same team, aren't we? I mean,
it's still the Reds, whatever they wear, it's still the Reds.
And so it's going to cause debate, it's going to cause whatever. We're probably going to end up wearing it only 5 times next season anyway, so it doesn't really make a massive difference. Something that is a little bit more making a massive difference is Keeper Watch. Now, there's been reports in the Mirror yesterday that we are officially not going to make a bid for Allison because apparently the price is too high, which through knock-on effects and through logic, you can say means we're probably not going to be bidding for Oblak either because his is...
He's even dearer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
everyone's a little bit like, oh, who's next? What's next? Now, this morning, there were reports that we were going to activate the 52 million clause for Barcelona keeper Jasper Cillessen.
Is he any good?
I mean, he has been good in the past. I remember when he played for the Dutch national team, he looked very good. When he played a lot in the Eredivisie, he looked very good. He's played like 25 games for Barcelona in 2 years. Which, fair enough, Barcelona had one very good keeper in that time in Ter Stegen. But it's kind of like, surely he should have been pushing a little bit further than that, really. I mean, are we sure that he's going to be able to handle a full season at the club level that we are aspiring to.
And we want a number one as well, don't we?
Exactly.
We want someone who can come straight in and be a number one, not someone who needs a bedding-in period or needs to get used to the league or whatever else. We've already got, keepers with psychological problems. We don't need another one, do we? Or, I think that's why everyone got wedded, though, to Allison or Oblak, isn't it? They felt like, through everything you read and you watched and clips on YouTube and everything else, all the usual sources, I think with those two you thought, you pay the top whack, you're getting a top keeper.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're now seemingly going down a different road has set a few alarm bells up, hasn't it?
It has, but I mean, sometimes it can be a little bit of what kind of confirmation bias involved in this as well. Because so much of us has been focused on those two, it's almost like anyone else but those two is going to be a drop-off. And it's not necessarily the case. Yes, they are two fantastic keepers, two one of the best keepers, but that doesn't mean to say that they're the only keepers in Europe who can bring our team forward. I think that there are plenty of others. I mean, Bernd Leno's been mentioned around. I think he's a very good keeper. I wanted to throw a wild card in the hat, though.
Oh, hello.
That's what I do,
Go ahead.
I've been crunching a few numbers on the internet and kind of watching football all the time, as you know I do.
Yep.
And I was looking at the specific things that we want in a keeper. So I was looking at distribution, I was looking at the amount of errors they make that lead to a goal, and the amount of saves per goal. Because
Catching it off crosses and that.
yeah, catching's on there.
Because we don't want Anfield going, "Ugh!"
No.
Every time a ball comes into the box, like they've been doing to Mignolet for however many years.
To quite a few others. So yeah, I was looking at specific metrics that I think are going to be important to us, completed passes as well, and I've come up with a new one.
Go on. Oh, hello, look at this.
I got a list here. I got a top three. Sergio Rico at Sevilla, who's another good young keeper, certainly wouldn't cost as much.
Did I see Phil Blundell talking about him as well?
Oh, really? Okay, no, scratch that. No, just kidding.
Sounds Phil.
Yeah. No,
Phil watches loads of football.
He does,
as well.
he does. I mean, he's probably on point with this one. Like, we agree on this one. I'm only messing with him. I think he is a very good keeper. Again, he's got Champions League experience, as we all know. I think that he's the kind of person who he's at the development stage in his career that he'll be able to handle the step up. But he's not who I would go for. I would go for a little bit more of a left fielder, Yuri Pavlenka. He's been playing for Werder Bremen. Now, he's a Czech goalkeeper. He's basically seen in Czech Republic as the new Peter Cech. He's got the frame for it. The thing I like about him as well is that, yes, Werder Bremen have been in the lower league, so you think, oh, he's going to face more shots, therefore that means that he's going to look better because of that. But Bremen play attacking football. I mean, the reason that they were down there is because they played really attacking football and they didn't always have the greatest defenders. But if you go back and look at some of the games, like there was a game against Dortmund last season where he literally single-handedly kept them out and they went on to get points in that game. And the amount of times that he's made big saves at big moments, he's a big presence, he's a young guy, no one else is talking about him. I think that he's worth a punt of my money anyway.
Have you dropped a little email to Michael Edwards?
He's not replying to my emails
He's on
anymore.
LinkedIn, you know.
Is he?
Yeah, he's on LinkedIn. I've tried to add him, and I don't know whether he did add me. I don't think he did, but he's definitely on there. So, he could be, I'm just saying, Mo, you know what I mean? Drop in there, drop into his DMs on LinkedIn and just say, aye, lads, have you had a look at him or what?
I mean, they probably watched the show. I mean, I know
Prompts,
that Jurgen's made a point of saying
Mick.
How much he enjoys watching the fan stuff. So,
yeah, you can definitely watch his fan media.
Yeah.
Engages with fan media. So Yergsy, if you're watching, mate, and Mick isn't on that, get him to give Mo a bell and he'll give him the lowdown. You know what I mean?
But the wider point on this, and it's one that I'd like to make in terms of all of our transfer dealings, is that just because in the intense spotlight of the guy that we are definitely reported to be into doesn't happen, doesn't mean he's the one and only. I mean, lest we forget, Mo Salah wasn't our first choice last season, was he?
And it's the same kind of principle with Fekir, isn't it? In that, like, everyone got really wedded to the idea of him coming. We were all like, he's an absolute belter, he's a worldie, he's boss, brilliant. And then, like, you see, like, a complete head falling off. I mean, some of the comments, by the way, can you stop, I mean, if you're one of these, can you stop abusing people on the Anfield app, please? Because there's just no need. All there is people talking about footy. Some informed, some not. I'm not. I'm just a fan who goes to footy and tries to keep up with it and talks about it. Melissa, though, for instance, is informed, is a journalist, is doing a job, has got contacts, does speak to agents, does speak to the club, does speak to people abroad, is informed, as I said. so stop giving a shit.
Yeah.
All right, because it's just shit house behaviour, and I'm fed up with seeing it.
I can't 100% agree with that. I would
Little
also,
rant there.
yeah, no, it's fine. I think it was within the message of the story.
Yeah.
I would add to that as well. Anyone out there who's throwing shade at the player himself, you're also idiots.
Yep.
I mean, I genuinely feel sorry for him. He was really looking forward to playing for Liverpool, and I think that I hope, for his sake, that his career can come back from it, and I hope that actually it turns out that our fears were unfounded and he can go on and play really well.
Just not for anyone in the Premier League, please.
No, Chelsea, keep your hands off.
Yeah.
Okay, now something else that's happened, which you were able to tell me about today. There's been a new development in the safe an update in the safe standard debate. Anyone who signed the petition that came out has been given a new updated message, which is a softening of the stance, which we hope is going to lead to actually some real developments. What are the bones of what they're saying, Robert?
So basically, the petition's closed now to have safe standing considered in the top 2 leagues. 112,000 signatures or more than people got involved with it. And the government responded initially with it felt like a bit of a wave away, a bit of a, yeah, whatever, it's sound, the reason we went all seated is because it was safer, blah, 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 blah. And you were a bit like, okay. And like, you know, they obviously engaged with the idea of having a debate, but it didn't sound particularly promising. What does sound particularly promising now, though, is that we woke up this morning and there's an email in the inbox, and everyone who signed the petition will have got this. It says MPs ask government for a more detailed response to the petition about safe standing. They have now provided a more detailed response, and this is very interesting now because it basically recognises a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about on the Anfield app, that the Spirit of Shankly have been talking about, that fans groups up and down the country, that John Darsh, the safe standing campaigner, that the shadow sports minister, when she came out and said Labour behind it, all these people who support the idea have been saying these things, and now here it is from the government saying we recognise the highly successful introduction to rail seating at Celtic Park as well as Bundesliga clubs. They also mention Werder Bremen, Hamburg, Wolfsburg, Hanover, Dortmund, etc, etc, etc. So basically, it sounds like they're starting to listen. It sounds like there's a little bit of a shift. It isn't just Labour, this. I mean, I've seen some people trying to politicise the whole thing. I'm not particularly interested in that. No. What I want is common sense around this, really. And I think it feels that's where we're headed. It's only 12 days now until the actual debate in Parliament. We'll be really interested in that. Still weighing up whether to actually go, to be honest, Mo. I only found out the other day that, you know, the public can go and attend and watch. So I might just do that. If not, if anyone's interested, you can watch these things on Parliament TV as well. So it should be really interesting to see where it goes. I mean, where it feels like it's going to me there isn't a lot of strong arguments against it now. I seen a councillor out on Twitter yesterday who was responding to the shadow sports minister, basically saying, you know, said it was virtue signalling that she was getting behind safe standing. Seems to be the go-to phrase for bellends now.
Piers Morgan says it a lot.
Yeah, he says it a lot. And it was like, his arguments, when you read down the thread, he was going on about the 70s and 80s, going on about Hillsborough, and it was like, the situation has changed so much since then. That was recognised in the government statement as well, by the way. You know, let's have a conversation about now, not about them, because it's not the same place. Football isn't the same place. Society isn't the same place.
The key thing for me as well is that all of those articles that come out that reference in all those old days, they're getting it wrong. And every time someone puts one out that gets it wrong, we all tell them that they've got it wrong. Because the fundamental point about that is this: it's not going backwards. It's still going forwards. It's still a new thing. It's still advancing. It's not a case of going back to the dark ages. We have seen the problems from then, we've seen the problems from now, and this is going to solve them both. It's kind of that simple.
Exactly, mate.
Okay, now we've got some announcements that we'd like to make, as we normally do in this show. There's not any new shows coming out today, but there are a couple of World Cup shows that have come out recently. I almost forgot. Seeing as it is the World Cup starting tomorrow, there is a little bit of a news story that's kind of bubbling up over the course of the last, 6 hours basically.
Mad.
Spain have sacked their manager. Yes, you heard me right. Spain have sacked their manager.
On the eve of the World Cup.
The eve of the World Cup. Julian Lopetegui, who yesterday had announced that he was going to be the new manager of Real Madrid, which was an equally smart move. Nice one for that, Julian. And this has thrown the whole thing into chaos. We don't know if they're going to replace them. There was a report from Ed Malin in The Independent this morning that the players had gone to the president. The president felt betrayed by this guy, which sounds like a lot of rhetoric. But when you consider that he extended his contract 2 months ago, I can kind of see where it's coming from. But the players kind of begged for Lopetegui's job to stay. They obviously wanted a bit of stability. The president says no, he's got to go. What are your thoughts on it?
It's a big shout, isn't it? It's a big shout. And if the players have come out and said what they've said, then it seems to be a bad move, really. I mean, I was thinking when this story was breaking just before and we were walking through to record this, I was thinking, well, maybe you sort of get a bit of a siege mentality going and they end up sort of performing better against adversity and all that. But if the president's gone against what they want, it could equally go the other way. Now you're thinking where they're a bit like, oh, well, if you're not going to listen to us, see you later. I mean, it does seem a little bit of a shame for Spain in that couldn't this fella or the people around him or Real Madrid or whoever's at fault just shut up?
Just shut up.
Shut up for a month, and then after that it's fine. You know what I mean? After that it's done and dusted.
You
know how Spain have
literally
got
announce it the day after they go out of the World Cup, if they go well, or if the day after they win it, if they.
Someone somewhere couldn't keep their mouth shut, and now look. So yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And it's one to keep your eye on, and it's mad. I mean, ultimately, it is mad that that's happened so close to the first game. So. Yeah, really interesting. And I love the line, like Balaguer, I think it was, we were just looking at his Twitter feed and it was like, is there going to be a replacement? They don't know at this stage. But you better hurry up, boys. Yeah. It's tomorrow.
And I mean, essentially, was something else, I think it was him who said it as well, the disruption element of the announcement of his Real Madrid job, I believe, is what's paid something to it. But you kind of nullify that element by then sacking him. Because if that's not disruption, I don't know what is.
I mean, maybe it's like, I mean, look, I don't know, I don't fully understand, although I did read a book, what was it called? Read a book about Spanish football, it was absolutely brilliant. Oh, and I really wish I could remember the name of it now. My memory's terrible, but it was basically about the needle that exists in Spanish football everywhere. It was called More About, brilliant book, look it up, honestly, really good.
You reading a book about needle? Never.
Oh, mate, I absolutely love it. I was like, I'm moving to Spain when I read it, honestly, and it's like, they all hate each other, they've all got these little, like, they're all having digs at each other all the time. So if you've got that culture around your football, I guess the Madrid thing breaking, the president might, to give him a little bit of a benefit of that, maybe he's looking at it going, well, the lads who don't play for Madrid are going to be like,
yeah, we're not getting a game.
I hate Madrid. Why do I listen to this fella? Do you know what I mean? So maybe there's that aspect to it. But yeah, more about get on that great book.
I will get on that book. And yeah, cannot wait for the World Cup. As I say, it's all starting tomorrow.
Exciting.
I'm actually doing some bits on the radio about it tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Check it out if you're in and around that other place across the road, Manchester. I won't do any more than that. But there's something that we, as the Anfield Rap, are going to be getting involved in, aren't we, Rob?
Yeah, we're getting involved in this, which is foot golf. I don't know if you can see the details of the thing, probably a little bit far away, but we'll be plugging this more and more. And basically, it's in July, 13th of July. It's a Friday, and from 4 o'clock at the Warren, it's called, which is over on the Wirral. We will be playing, the Blue Room, the Everton podcast will be playing, and what ARC, who look after homeless people, a registered charity, wants is for people round and about to sign up and raise some money. There'll be a sports quiz as well, there'll be food, it'll be a laugh basically. It's a Friday afternoon, so yeah, 4 o'clock registration and food, 5 o'clock kick-off, 7 o'clock food again. A lot of food going on, and then a sports quiz which will be hosted by the Anfield Rap. Neil's going to be down there, I'll be down there myself. We're going to have a go with the foot golf, we're going to have a beer. It's £40 per person, teams of 4, £160. If you want to find out more about this, it is arcfootgolf.uk. So there's the first shout for that. We'll be giving more shouts for that. Hoping to speak to someone on Friday from Wirral Arc to explain a little bit more about what they do and why they're a worthy cause and why there's fundraising going on. But yeah, look that up, get involved, a chance to have a laugh. If you think we're all right, sound, come and have a laugh with us then.
Have you ever played foot golf before?
Played once before, mate, yeah. And we did a bit of a feature on the Anfield Rap. We had a laugh, but And I didn't absolutely disgrace myself, which was made up with, because I had a little bit of anxiety about being the worst taking part, but I wasn't. So I was all right. I was sort of middle ground, so I was quite happy with that. But what I did do was, like, as you can imagine, like, you know, you gotta whack it off your first shot on some of them, and it's far. Like, this is an 80-hole golf course, this, so it's gonna be similar, I think. So you had to North Wales was the one we went to last time. So you have to boom it off the tee, and so I boom it on only about the 4th hole or something like that. Pulled my hamstring, and I was just like, "This is why I'm not playing footy anymore." Well, that and being shit.
I mean, were you not properly stretched and warmed up?
Obviously not, mate. I mean, I just rocked up in a pair of shorts and trainers. I was like, just walking around a golf course, doing a kick here and there. You don't need to warm up, do you?
Yeah.
And then turns out maybe you did.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Maybe you did, yeah.
I
So I was
mean,
hopping around for a few weeks after that.
I'm all for not taking it seriously, but at the same time, you got to give yourself a chance.
It's funny though, you know, as well, because I think it's one of those games. Have you had to go over it?
No, I would love to though. I absolutely love to.
Mate,
Yeah.
Let's get a couple of Anfield rap teams on the go. But what's funny about it is, like, you know, I think you go to it, and a lot of people probably go to it the same as what I was thinking, where you think, well, I wasn't the best footy player in the world. And a lot of the reason that I ever ended up on any pitches anywhere at any time was booting people and stopping wingers and that now and again legally, more often illegally. But yeah, I think a lot of people go to it thinking you've got to be brilliant at footy or whatever, and it's not really about that.
No.
It's about being a bit clever at times. I mean, the fella in North Wales said to us at one point, he said, you know, you see all these fellas rocking up, fancy themselves as a bit of a player. Like, even when you're side foot and things, like, that's what's being put in you. You know, you're passing the ball, you side foot it. He was like, actually, when you're trying to dink it in the hole, just a little bit of a toe on it is actually more accurate.
I was the king of the toe punt as a child. I'm going to absolutely ace this game.
So
I also scored a goal from the halfway line when I was 11.
You're just saying, like...
Yeah.
Have you got any video of it?
Oh, fuck.
But it'd been great if you could have cut that out. But here's Mo's goal from the halfway line.
If you go down to Lordswood in Kent and ask about it,
They still talk about it now.
I still talk about it now. It's in the legend. Trust me, it's in the legend. Honestly, don't look into it. So yeah, that's our show for today. We've had a lot of fun. Robbo's going to go off to Sports Day and find out if he can still got children who want to call him dad. And we'll see you tomorrow.